Welcome, you guys.
To Two Queens and Crystal Things, the podcast where we are on some manifest your life, shift your mind, and raise the consciousness type of shit. I am Mia.
And I am Christy, and you can consider us your spiritual girlfriends.
Hey.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I miss you guys. I feel like it's been a minute. But our last episode, which I hope that you all listened to, it was Blessings in Our Lessons. And we talk about just how in everything, no matter when it's hard or challenging, sad, there's always a blessing in that. And I hope this episode helps somebody. But I do want to quickly shout out to everyone who supported the show through our Buy Me Coffee link. Again, we really, really appreciate the support. Again, this is just something that we do. We love what we do, but we really appreciate you all valuing our time and our energy. So
we appreciate the energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So today, okay, we're talking about kind of what's going on with the current energies.
Oh my gosh.
What people are experiencing, both physically and spiritually. And I feel like we've been talking about for some time a shift that is here, that is imminent. And I feel like there's a collective shift as well as a lot of individuals shifting, or I should say, consciously choosing whether or not they want to stay in the consciousness that they are currently in, or if they are making a decision to move into the unknown with faith that it's their creation.
I can see that too.
I feel like everybody's being red pilled or blue pilled.
Right, and it's almost like now you can see the division starting to happen.
Yes.
And that's something that's been very clear to me. It's like, oh, okay. Like, and then also, even in my relationships, people that I thought would not necessarily be aligned with my way of thinking or the way that I feel, but now, like, hearing that they're aligned with it, I'm like, wait, what? You? Not you. But it's really interesting. Girl, can I tell you? This is kind of on par with what we're talking about. So this past weekend, I met this sheriff. He bought he bought some sage for me. And, got it, was talking and thanked us. And I said, excuse me, how do you know about sage? And he said, oh, I know. He was like, I probably look like someone that you wouldn't expect. But his father, he was adopted, and his father was Native American. And so he talks about being a part of all of these different traditions and ceremonies, and how he was like, oh, yeah, I burn this and I move it around to clear out the energy. This is a sheriff that you would see in the city of Chicago,
Interesting.
You never know. Never know.
Christy, you made me, just made me think about something. For a lot of us who are probably first generation, I hate saying this, but awakened.
Yes.
Or at least, let me back up. Or probably better yet, first generation awakened who are allowed to say it out loud.
Correct.
Who are allowed to live it. Because I think a lot of us have family with lineage and who come from different lineages spiritually and had a lot of different practices and rituals that meant a lot to them, but during their time it was probably suppressed and they weren't allowed to share, or there was fear of repercussions for honestly just practicing what you've always known and what has been passed down in your family. So in this, I say generation, in this time, and not even this generation, I really just think it's this time, that people are awakening, and these kids that are coming in, they come in conscious. It seems like there's so many. So I think it's a time.
No, you're absolutely right.
It's like so now, I think it's our responsibility to pass it along.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Because we are in a better position to live our truth, live our authenticity. And it's going to look different for many people because there's a lot of different lineages and ways to get to your God self. Honestly, it's just a practice of what is closer to you, what feels good to you.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say
our kid, you know what I mean? I feel like we can't do our kids like unfortunately how our parents had to grow up.
Yeah. Well, it's just interesting that you talk about that because my grandmother came through a reading. I feel like it was a recent reading, but that's what she went through. You know, this was the one that used to like call my father in from the house when he was out playing with his friend, and she would, joke with her girlfriend. I told you I'd get him to come, but she actually came through and was like, that's what she went through.
Yeah.
She couldn't fully be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fear of what people will say about you and how people will treat you. I mean, I was recently talking about like when things started to open up for me as a teenager and not feeling confident or safe to share with anyone out of fear that I would be judged.
So that's actually another point too, Christy. Not only will we be doing ourselves, the collective, and our next generation a disservice, but I mean, honestly, we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we don't pass on what it is that we've learned. And if we can't fully pass it on, I don't know why we wouldn't, but
imagine if
allow
someone,
them to be a safe space, to allow our children to speak and to learn and to grow and to stretch and to adventure out onto their journey, and feel like when they're seeing something that doesn't make sense, that we're a safe space to go to. I think minimally we should offer that.
I agree. Because, I mean, think about if people showed us and we didn't have to do so much of the figuring things out on our own and tripping. I mean, imagine. But again, growth is growth. So, but I do believe that it is our responsibility to teach the next generation.
I really do think that the awakening was going to happen, is happening, and it would have happened regardless of what the incoming energies were. So if let's just say there is a faction that don't want people to know their God self and that they can control their experience in this matrix. What if, you know what I mean? So they would make it so you don't pass it along. But the universe has a way of opening up to you who you are if that's what you chose to do. And oftentimes for us, for a lot of people, that came in with us around this time, is trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Trauma has been the initiator. After, so much, you start asking questions like, hold on, like, this can't be it. So now that we have breaking through and healing and activating ourselves and empowering ourselves and understanding ourselves, this next generation should not have to get it through trauma. It's like the cycle.
You have never lied, because man, I went through some things. Woo.
And as parents, we have to, I'm really, this is something I really have to remind myself too, Christy. As parents, we have to be grateful and not have to, like, we consider being grateful for the fact that you created a space where your child doesn't have to work as hard as you did and doesn't have to experience the things that you did.
We were just talking about that with Beyonce.
Exactly, yes.
And Ivy.
And we should and that doesn't mean that they're weak. We've talked about this before too. It doesn't necessarily mean this is just the time that they are coming into. So are we going to shame them because they don't have trauma like we did? That's not, you know what I mean? If you really think about it, So we want out of the intention of protection. Sometimes we create a space that's not necessarily safe, and even though that's not our intention. It's just like real talk. So I would say that this goes into actually a lot of things that are happening currently. I would say that it's really time for us to dial in to what is where you are currently, not what was. You can't
or will be.
Right. You can't teach a child in the ways of what was and expect them to be successful with what is and what will be.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So we got to be fair.
So much
to you know what I mean, to ourselves, to be authentic with ourselves of what we've learned.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And, quickly just going back and recapping the last episode we did, episode 26. We did do that?
Yeah, you did.
Yes, sorry,
So, okay, anyway, you guys. So, one thing that Chrissy and I were talking about today, I apologize, River is getting his meow on in the background.
What is it about our animals?
So we talked about, you know how people regulating your emotions, right? And then so what I say is regulating your reactions, because we can control how we react.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So when we feel, when you begin to feel rage or shame or judgment or what, these I will call them lower vibrational emotions. We shouldn't shame ourselves for feeling them, because we have to remember where the control is, where the power is, and the power is in how we respond to that.
The power lies in us, y'all. Well, it's so interesting because we were also talking about this too before we started recording, is, we oftentimes will get triggers on things. And a lot of times, something that used to trigger you and it doesn't, that also shows like a lot of the spiritual growth that you're going through. And it allows you, like, I feel like as you are maturing spiritually and as you get to know who you are, truly understand who you are, that little shit doesn't bother you anymore. And your reactions become extra regulated. It's just like, I just don't have the energy to give it.
Well, and then, also, it's like it triggers something different in you. Instead of the anger, you'll say, okay, I see that there's some anger coming, but then what the other trigger is, what is this trying to show me?
Right.
Because you start to realize and understand that when you believe, energy attracts like energy. So if you are experiencing something low vibrational, the question is, what in me attracted this towards me?
Well, and I think we talked about this too, just becoming more aware of who you are.
Yeah.
And as you are more aware and in tune with you, when certain emotions come in, you're like, okay, hold up, let's pause.
Let's see what this is about.
What can I learn from this? Yeah. Why is this coming? Why do I think that, what did I do to allow this to come through? So absolutely.
And just reminding yourself that you're always in control.
Always.
Of you.
Always. No, you can't control other people, but
you can't. So, but oftentimes
when you control
we do release our control, and we'll say things like,
you
made me," and like we keep it 100 for real. 100. Nobody can really make you do a damn thing.
Nobody.
These are choices. These are whole decisions that we are making, and we are so quick to try to hold other people accountable for what they say and do. And really and truly,
It's
if everybody
you.
held their own self accountable, that's a world of
Bam.
accountability.
It really is.
You hold yourself accountable to your own standards and rules and expectations of how one should move in this world.
Yeah.
If you have an expectation that someone should move a certain way with you, but you are not that, like energy attracts like energy.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right about that one. Ooh.
But, these triggers though, I feel like, I don't know if, I feel like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like the split that you were talking about earlier, and people making a decision of who and what they want to be on this space,
It's
feel
happening
like
for real,
it
y'all.
is, I was like before I would say, like say there's the line going this way or that way. I felt like people were kind of closer to the middle of that, what I mean? Like they chose this side or that side, but they were still towards the middle. Now I feel like we're moving to extremes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've seen some videos, like people have sent me and shared with me. I'm talking about people are angry.
Very angry.
And when I say
Very.
no chill, I mean so angry. And so and when you even see some of these videos, like I can feel myself getting angry because they're
That's
not
why,
like,
yeah, that's
I don't
why I
even wanna
can't watch.
transfer that
Right.
energy.
But think
But I
about
mean,
it
the
too.
reactions that people are, I mean, and you got to ask yourself, like, come on, man, okay, what is going on? And that's why I say the time that I think a lot of call them mystics or oracles, readers have been foreseeing and speaking, astrologers, where the choosing, the choice, who do you want to be? What timeline are you choosing to walk into? It's now. And
Absolutely.
I feel like I need to do a little research because I feel like there is the window of opportunity. There is a limit on it, and I don't think it's a short thing. I really do. I do want to. I'm gonna ask somebody who's really into kind of astrologically can probably help me figure out. But I feel like there's the portal, the time is opening, and we're like in between timelines. We're choosing. Some people have already chosen. Some people came in knowing, and some people are fighting in the middle with themselves.
Yeah. Can we go back to something you were talking about? People just being very angry.
Yes.
And it's so true. I mean, people are hurting and they just want to be seen. They want to feel heard. They want to feel loved. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people are suffering from trauma, emotional trauma, physical trauma, mental trauma. Access to the internet, there are some really, there's some pros to it, but there's a lot of, I think, and I feel like we're kind of seeing it now. There's a lot of stuff that is causing havoc in our society.
But what do you think some of the most prevalent things are?
Violence.
But why are people so angry? I mean, I know we're not going to answer the we're not necessarily going to come up with the panacea for it, but I don't know, maybe.
I think I really think people are traumatized.
I think it's this is, I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you why I'm conflicted.
Tell me.
Because if I believe that we create our reality,
True.
then I have to ask myself, why are we so angry? Why are we creating so much anger within ourselves? So is it
See, I feel like that's a collective.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just,
I feel like they're kind of feeding off of each other. You know what? Okay.
right. I'm just what I'm saying. So, but that's also,
I feel like
we're always choosing.
Right. But I also feel like, so there are a lot of things at play. Okay,
Right?
this is the side of where my side what is it? The theorist person.
Your conspiracy theories.
There we go,
Yes.
conspiracy theories. So I do feel like the way that our society or this 3D realm is created from those that kind of have the power of the control, quote unquote, through programming, TV, social media, they're able to create this fear among us. Like the news. Think about the stuff that they put on the news. Everything is creating fear. Fear is such a low vibrational energy, and it feeds off of, the system is basically feeding off of our fear. When you're fearful, other people start getting fearful, and so you really have to be mindful. I do think that it's part of the programming. Because, if everyone was awakened, they're going to lose out. So you got to keep some people.
But to what end?
I know.
So, okay.
Keeping people from understanding who they are.
Part of me feels like, I'm serious, because I really do wonder this, because, part of me really feels like, remember we just said, part of the awakening is trauma. So I feel like some of the reason why there's such an uprising of anger is that the portal in this time is open for people to choose, and it's like, we need to hurry this up, so we about to mess it up, so those people who are in this traumatic space will be able to choose and awaken to themselves. At least that's what I want to believe.
So as you were talking, I was seeing that we are shifting into a space where people, in order to grow and expand, they don't have to go through the trauma. Like they just...
Right, that's what I was saying.
That's what we're moving into.
Right, that's what I was saying. So we need to be able to help ourselves be open to that space and not feel like
you have to
be. Do you know? So, but I think, Christy, this time, this space, it is, people are choosing, and so because I don't know what it is about this energy that this time, this pull that I feel. Is here, not coming, like we're in it.
I believe it. Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's time to choose. So I do think that collectively more of us are choosing, but it's like the storm has to come in order for it to be the calm after the storm.
Yeah.
I just feel like the storm is, if we're in a, this is a tornado, I feel like, this is like F4. Like we're in it, and sometimes it has to blow up to be rebuilt.
Absolutely. Think about. I'm using this analogy, but there are certain there are forests. In order to create new growth, it has to burn all the way down.
Exactly.
Because there's something about that. Yeah. Like the fire, it does something to the soil. It helps to bring new soil up, which then allows for more life and creation to grow. And so, it's so true. Like sometimes you just got to burn the shit down.
And the thing about it that I also find fascinating is that even with everything that is in front of us, we can't assume that once people see that there is another way, that it doesn't necessarily have to be as difficult or challenging as we're making it, that there are people who chose and want to come here. Like, I want the challenge in life. I want it difficult. I want to hard. There's some. I'm dead serious. We have to be okay with that, and that doesn't make their choice. We have to stop judging people's choice.
Right.
Allow people to live the space that they want to live.
Ooh,
if you truly love someone, and you say that you love people and you love your neighbor, one of the highest forms of love is understanding. Me understanding and accepting who people are and still love them and allow myself to regulate myself accordingly does not mean that I don't love you.
Right. Because honestly, it's not our business all the time. And that is something every day. Right. This is something that I'm having to remind myself all the time. Like, why do I care what someone else is doing? This is really none of my business. It has no break or make over what I do or how I live my life. So I'm learning to like, okay, if that's what you choose and that's what you enjoy, then that's not for me to say anything about.
Right.
So let's talk about, man, we were just talking about this earlier. Limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do feel like that this is probably one of the stronger battles that I'm dealing with. Because it's like a constant thing where you have to work on. You know, there are certain things that you work on for some time, and then once you release it, it's gone. Mm-hmm. But this is something that will be like released, and then it resurfaces again, and then I have to deal with it, and then it's released, and then it resurfaces again. It's like it's more of a challenge for me.
Ooh, look, I'm like, you already know. This is I think, for me, limiting beliefs are based in fear.
Yes.
Because if I didn't hold any fear of something, of whatever it may be, then there's no limit that I'm putting on myself.
Right, but guess what? Fear doesn't exist. It's not
it's
real. It's in our head.
That's the thing. It's like we know this.
Right. But we're still like heart palpitating, sweaty armpits.
Thank you.
Oh.
But there is still the energy that exists.
Right.
So if we are consciously in this world, we know that fear is not real. We know and speak and believe that we create this reality, and when something happens that's not the way that we want, that we believe we want it to be, we get scared. We build up this
fear. We get triggered.
Woo. And so, if I was to speak from my, quote unquote enlightened place, I would say that these things happen because we're setting ourselves up to be able to exist in that new space. So if you really think about some of the things that people ask for, so let's say somebody is single or dating, just kind of moving them, and they're saying, man, I'm looking for my perfect partner. It's this, and this. You know what I mean? And you happen to run into this person. You have to truly ask yourself, want to attract to you. And so that means we have to, it's always about us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even in, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know I don't know how to impress how important it is that we each individually understand that, like, we are the battery of the creation. We are the creator of this creation. Yeah. It's always about you first. Your energy attracts your friends, your experiences, your lessons, your blessings. So it's always about you. And the more that we are accepting, aware, understanding, and integrating our God self into the 3D self, then we're walking in our divinity.
Ooh.
And our life is
now, honestly,
in creation mode.
Lately, I feel like my different parts of myself have been becoming like one.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, and I really feel it.
Like the timelines are converging.
Yes,
Chrissy, I told you, I've been feeling that for a long time.
Yes.
So that's why I think I have been introduced to more aspects of myself. And I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm aware of certain things and points that like certain interests. Even when I look around my home, I know that some of the things that I am attracted to are from a different version of myself.
Yeah.
Because and they're kind of moving and coming together. Remember, the integration is interesting.
We were actually talking about that earlier.
I mean,
the integration.
Woo! That integration.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to keep it a buck.
Keep it a buck.
Part of it, at least in my experience, is, am I really experiencing what I think I'm experiencing?
Right.
So so for me to even be going there, that's me going back to that limiting belief self. Because why the hell not?
Right.
So for me to ask that means there's a part of me that believes that it's not possible, that what I know to be true is because it isn't true, because I mean, where? But when I go to the other side, it's like it's all true. It's all real.
Isn't that funny how we can go in between? Because there are some days where I'm like, girl, why are you tripping?
Yes.
This is not even real.
Yes.
Just go with the flow. And then the other days where I'm so like in it.
Christy, no, dead ass for real. Like for real.
But then I know on the other side, it's like, but I still allow myself to sit in this place of fear. And it's
that's
like,
the
come
integration.
on. Right.
That's
back and
smack
forth, like,
damn
come on,
in
girl,
the
like.
middle of the integration. So if you are feeling like you're kind of, dare I say, riding the middle within yourself, trying to pull everything together so there is alignment, we're reaching for balance, I truly think it's the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm having a lot more of these very aware conversations with myself, where I'm speaking to 2 or 3 different aspects of myself. So where we're collectively trying to say, wait, hold on, where am I? What am I doing in this space? And I mean,
that is so interesting. How we've been having similar situations.
Well, you know what? That brings up the next thing: the synchronicities.
Ooh.
I feel like, and I see a lot of people talking about this on Instagram, you guys, on IG. But I feel like a lot of people have been experiencing a lot of synchronicities and glitches, and I've been saying for a while, I'm like, y'all know, for the Matrix is glitching. There must be somebody must be up there trying to fix a couple of things. But what are some synchronicities that you've been through, Christy?
That's a good question, and I'm just gonna talk. I don't necessarily know that they're synchronous. I mean, of course, like the numbers. I see the numbers. I might see a number on my radio as I'm driving, and then I'm at a red light, and I look at the license plate underneath me, and it's the same number. And then I turn my head, and it's the same number. So I've had those situations, but I will say, so lately, I met this woman, and she's been giving me cacao. And she's Mexican, it's in her lineage, and so she like has these rituals and ceremonies around it. So she's been gifting it to me. And so I've been drinking cacao before my meditation. And this one particular day I said, I just want to be able to allow my heart to be open and just be guided. Ego out the picture. And this woman that I told you about that people tend to be a little intimidated of, like, I went to her business and we were just talking about non-work stuff. And she asked me about my wings, and I told her about my connection with the spiritual realm, and she was like, I believe that it exists. She was like, oh my gosh, like I can't even believe we're having this conversation.
Absolutely.
And then we started talking about, her daughter was talking about Reiki. I was telling her what I do, and she was like, oh wait, oh my goodness, this is crazy. My daughter just texted me about Reiki. So I've been having those experiences, like just these random occurrences.
And that's
and I'm really conscious about them too.
Yeah.
I
read something. I have to admit I didn't do this, but I read someplace that someone like over a course of however many time, let's say 7 to 14 days, they took notes of all the synchronicities they experienced, like just kind of, and at the end of the time looked at the whole picture. And they said it was really amazing because now you're looking at the full picture. And it's almost like, when I read that, I said, you know what, I'm going to try this because I bet you if you did it like this, you'll get a very clear message. So I'll tell you that for a while, I see every hour at 11. So 7-11, 8-11, 9-11. I see, and every hour at 33, the 33rd minute, all the time. I mean, I just randomly pick up the phone, like, okay, let me see what time it is, or something will just make me jump up and look what time it is, and it's always. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. My I've been, so let's say that I meditate or I'm doing a visioning exercise, and I am envisioning a scene in my life. I'm completely making it up. You know what I mean? I'm creating it as I'm going along. I'm in it. Like I got the virtual goggles on. I'm in the situation, and then I'll go to IG or something, or I see something on TV, and the characters will literally be living out exactly what the hell I just. So it's almost like I feel like It's almost like a confirmation to me. Like you keep doing that, you're attracting it, you're bringing it in. So now I'm seeing it even more. I can even tell just in the type of conversations that I'm having, even with strangers. Like, you're saying this woman that you just mentioned, and for the conversation to go there, I'm finding that exponentially more people I'm having, let's say, spiritual conversations with people.
Yeah.
So
as you were talking, there was something I was thinking about. It's almost like the higher in these levels that you go, because sometimes I have to tell myself, like, girl, this is a game, like, just chill. But the higher we go on these levels, the more the little, like, gold coins or the hints, they become more clear. Of course, the obstacles and stuff come, but you are more equipped to deal with them. But you just have to continue to have faith and allow yourself to keep going up, because it just, like, you gain more clarity. I don't know. It was just something as we were talking, I was like, you know what? It's almost like it's like a video game.
Yes, absolutely. I now look at our growth and our expansion. I look at it more as going in as opposed to up. Right. So thinking about the Fibonacci, the spiral. Yeah. So it's all like, when I think about it, this is interesting. So the way I visualize it is, if you start on the outside of the Chokure symbol in Reiki, that spiral part of it, if you start there, you are further away from the magnetic core of who you are. So think of Earth. If you dig down to the core of Earth, it's magnetic. It's like, that's a good point. It's the power. Yeah. Like, so the further we are away from it, we don't feel it as much. So when you look at yourself in that same way, the more you go in, the more you're attracted to it.
Oh, I like that.
So I feel like it's as we go through our lessons and our blessings and our failures and our successes, and we're making choices. I feel like we talk about, the red and blue pill as kind of a life choice, but I think there are red and blue pill choices in every moment.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we choose in that moment, in that situation, red pill, and sometimes in that situation we choose blue pill. But the fact that you are even aware of and conscious of what it is that you're choosing lets you know what you've chosen for your life. Because if you wanted to stay unconscious, you wouldn't even be having this conversation. Yeah, so true. What we have to learn and integrate into the wisdom that we are taking in and giving out is, we have to learn to accept our control, and understand that it's always good. It's always right, even when it doesn't feel like it's right.
Or something that I've also been like looking at is that, yes, there are some situations where you do have that, like, that bliss and that sweet spot. But I'm also realizing that it's like the yin and the yang. Like, it just is.
It just is.
Like, don't feel like you have to put it in a specific box.
Well, the sweet spot is whatever you say is the sweet spot. Do you know what I mean? So we keep this journey. We're really and truly what we're doing is moving closer to the inside of that spiral, getting closer to our core. As we get closer and closer, our energy to that core is stronger.
Yeah.
So I just...
That's really good. That's a good analogy.
We're just in it, you guys, for real, for real.
And it's happening now.
Yes, it is. And by the way, you guys, I wanted to remind you, our listeners, for checking in with us and giving us feedback on and actually giving us ratings and reviews. We really do appreciate it. So a couple people told us, so we're not going to eat on the podcast anymore.
No, sorry.
Stop it, River. But we will still be sipping. So, honestly, I appreciate it, though. Guys, by the time we get together at the end of the day, after, we've been working and doing all the
kids,
things.
Mommy.
We haven't eaten. So,
yeah.
But heard you, got it, and thank you.
Yeah.
So also, guys, please do follow the podcast at 2 Queens Crystal Things on IG. And follow Christy at, I want you to follow 2 of her pages. I want you to follow Sage House Apothecary.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sage House Apothecary on IG. That is her business. Her wellness herb. She creates some wonderful products, you guys. You got to check it out. And then to follow her on her personal page at Christy R. Edwards. And remember, that's a Christy with an I-E.
Yep, and then you all make sure that you follow Mia. She's one of my favorite readers. But, she is an Akashic record reader. She is a Reiki practitioner, sound healer. And, y'all, this dragonfly, I still need a session. I don't think I've ever done the dragonfly with you. But you can find her and follow her at Wings Unleashed 444. Wings like butterfly, wings, plural, unleashed 444.
Okay.
Let's unleash these limited beliefs.
That's right. Now, actually, that leads right into one of the other things I think we should discuss is this full moon. And Sagittarius. Wait, hold on, pause. I've been hearing a lot of people pronounce Sagittarius as...
Ooh, I think I heard that today.
Sagittarius. So, could somebody please let us know which one is correct? Is it Sagittarius or Sagittarius? I mean, it's becoming more prominent. The first time I heard that, I thought somebody was being funny. I
heard it today, actually. It was one of the videos that you posted in your stories, I think.
Right, right. Yeah. I'm like, so I think, I'm just curious what the consensus is on that. Anyway, so I'm excited about this full moon because it's in Sagittarius and my moon is in Sagittarius. So I'm already feeling very strong energies. I told Chrissy today that I was sitting here, and you guys know the movie from, the movie Matrix, where they feel like they're kind of like plugged in, where they plug them in kind of in that back of the neck spot. I was literally feeling tingling right in that spot, and I was like, okay, girl, I know they messed up with my Matrix plug. But I feel a lot of energy that feels good. So the reason that I was saying back to it letting go of limiting beliefs, it flows right into the energy of this full moon, because we release on the full moon. And the position that this moon is in, you guys, this is like, I don't even know how to say it. It's go for it, go big or go home. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Exactly.
And so the energy is get on a good foot like ASAP. But I feel like there is a universal safe space created that makes you feel comfortable to move forward. So pay attention to the synchronicities. Listen, open your heart to experiencing and listening what your spiritual team is trying to tell you and show you, what your highest self has set up for this time. I like I said, I do think there's a lot of things that are happening individually, but I feel like there is a momentum because so many are going through this, and on individual level, there is a collective momentum that is happening. And this full moon, they call it the strawberry moon, by the way, is it's giving that opportunity to let go of the limiting belief.
And I'm feeling it too. Like usually with the moon cycles, I don't necessarily feel, full moons, I don't feel anything. But lately I have been like, there's been a lot of stuff that has been surfacing that I need to let go of and I need to get rid of. But I'm really excited to do that. Like I'm really looking forward to this full moon.
Well, so by the way, it's Saturday. So today, when this episode will be uploaded for Friday. So tomorrow, when you guys hear this, is the full moon. It is 10:42 Central Standard Time when it will reach peak illumination, you guys. So like we said, it's in Sagittarius. It's a good, I'm excited. People like to call Sagittarius the great teacher. That they expand their horizons. Sagittarius is, honestly, Sagittarius, one of the stereotypical characteristics of a Sagittarius is that they're extra.
Which is so Sagittarius is what, November?
That is November.
Because I think my sister's in Sagittarius.
21st to December 20th, something like that. Or
okay.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because my sister's not extra.
Well, it depends on her rising. But wait, hold on, pause. Which sister are you talking about?
Older one.
I was gonna say, and also it depends on what your definition of extra is. So some people are extra and not necessarily loud. So you know what I mean?
Oh, you know what? No, she is extra.
She's
dramatic.
Yeah,
She's very dramatic.
But so that's a stereotypical, but that also translates into very ambitious, adventurous, willing to go for it, So, and when full moons, when we do releasing ceremonies, energy releasing ceremonies, it's about releasing. What is stopping you from experiencing the fullness of the dream that you have created, the life that you are creating? What is stopping you from just saying, I got this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And something about this full moon too, this energy, and I'll just share that this is what I'm feeling for myself. But I'm really feeling like now is the time, whatever it is that you're sitting on, and you haven't really put forth action to do it, now is the time to do it. I feel like this is the energy to do it under. It's just a matter of moving forward and getting stepping out of that space of fear. But once you actually do it in this energy, it's gonna blossom.
Johnny always he says this Taoist quote, something to the effect of those who seek success. So those who seek success will never get it or gain it or realize it or something like that. So this is going from an energy of chasing to being.
Ooh.
So
yes.
If you think about it, if you are chasing something, that means it's running away from you.
Yeah, and you're never going to obtain it.
Exactly. So I feel like that type of energy is stand in your stuff. Stop feeling like it's something that does not belong to you. It is yours. Embrace that feeling of that realization of what it is that you are creating, of what you believe yourself to be, of what you know yourself to be. And it's and oftentimes we're waiting for a sign that you're not crazy or that you're right or that it's my time. This moon energy is a motherfucking sign. Sorry, y'all. Is a sign.
And I think sometimes when we look for the sign, we make we think it's gonna be this huge life altering, there's no question about it, the sky opens up and a huge hand comes down to point the way for you. No, that's not Like, that's not how it is. These signs are very subtle. And the only way that we'll be able to pick up on those signs is if we allow ourselves to be quiet.
And that's the part.
Right.
And this is, so I'm saying, that's the beauty. That's one of the things that I love or have learned to love about the journey. I used to crave and want the big sign, right?
Yeah.
To know that I'm going in the right way. But the lesson, and me not getting it in that way, is how, when you are in God's self and allow yourself to be in a space where you are in your spiritual self, you have to learn how to be quiet enough to hear that. So if you get the big bang, it's written across the sky for you, you don't know how to get back to that space because you don't know how to quiet yourself.
Yeah.
So there has to be something that triggers some lesson that starts for you to say, hey, I need to shut up for a minute. I need to calm myself. I'm trying to hear something. How do I get to that? And now that you've taught yourself how to get to that space, guess what you can do? Get there anytime. That's why they're subtle, because it's a test of your expansion of you paying attention to the energy that you're creating.
Yeah. That is so true, and that's something that came out in one of my meditations, and I put it on Two Queens. I was like, we have to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down, settle down, be quiet so that we can hear.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all, what do you guys want to do? What are you all going to do for the full moon? Like, I have a couple things that I want to do.
Okay, tell.
Well, I definitely want to do some candle magic. And I kind of want to have like a goddess bath. Like, I created a bath for Maisha. It was this floral bath. It was a spiritual bath, but it was the energy was amazing, and I kind of want to do that. I just I want to be by myself. I can do it next weekend, I think.
You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm going to go out on the boat in the water for the full moon and do a release ceremony.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think that's what if you want to come out Saturday night, that's probably where I'm going to be.
Let me know.
And this is the fun thing. Saturdays are the fireworks. When the fireworks are back, you can see them out your window.
Yeah. Have they started already?
Yes, because last night we were
on Wednesday.
Last night Wednesday. I was like, oh shoot, the fireworks started. So
Where was I yesterday?
So that'll be an interesting night to be outside, I think, and check the weather. But
ooh, I love that.
I'll, as much as possible, I want to be outside when the moon is full. I swear, I don't know what it is. I literally feel like it charges my battery.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I feel like that with the sun.
You know what? I love how the sun feels on my face. For me, I feel like the sun does something with my third eye. It's like I can feel it, and like it feels so good, like it's clearing it, like it's giving it, it's illuminating its ability to experience, see, and provide for me. That's what the sun does for me. It's weird. It's a different feeling. Okay, you guys, how long have you been yammering, Christy?
54 minutes.
All right, you guys. We appreciate you all so much. Oopsie, sorry.
What's your takeaway?
My takeaway: be present. This is a moment. We're in a moment. This is. Be present in the moment of knowing that this is. I think we're in a historical time. Like, stuff is taken in.
My takeaway is to use this time, if you're not already, like if you're gonna dig deep and figure out who you are and start to really understand who you are, now is the way to develop, like now is the time to develop that self-awareness. Because once you truly become aware and conscious of who you are, again, you can regulate your reactions. I mean, the limiting belief, it's just like that video game. As you reach higher and you expand, you know, you have the spiritual expansion happening. The obstacles, they don't get easier, but you're more equipped to deal with them. And the hints, or like the reminders, they become more clear.
Gotcha. I like that.
That's my takeaway.
So real quick, you guys, I wanted to do kind of a little bit of an energy read, I guess, and what kind of message came through. So this is what's coming through, you guys, for our current energy from our team, from our spiritual guides. So I feel like a lot of people who are listening to this are in a space where they are having to release and let go and walk away from past beliefs, understanding, and their own, past abilities, or their perceived lack of abilities. And sometimes what we do is we look at times where we weren't necessarily as strong as an empowered. We'll look at it from a nostalgic place. Like we'll have this nostalgia from it, which is why we make it difficult for ourselves to let something go. So Spirit is asking you to not necessarily let it go and act like it never happened, but change it into a reflection. Change it into the lesson that it is. So you will always be able to visit the knowledge that you gained from that space. But keeping yourself in a space where you are reliving it is where we are stopping ourselves from moving forward. So it's almost like we're being asked to expand ourselves into our highest self, into the self that can see all of our experiences as is, not as good or bad. We allow them to be what it is that they are for us in that moment, in that time, and in that space. And also I see there are some people, like I hear that there's people who are walking into a space where they no longer need the validation of anyone outside of them to feel validated and affirmed in who and what it is that they are. So there are people who are starting to believe that they are beautiful within themselves and don't necessarily need someone else to tell them that they are beautiful, that they are smart. They're starting to walk away from this, from the desire to need the validation. And when you don't need the validation, that means you're taking your power back and empowering yourselves. And we're starting to create our lives in our own image, not in the image of what we've allowed people to show us what it looks like to be, what success is. We're getting back to creating our own version of success and feeling strong enough to stand and believe in that space. So as we are balancing and aligning ourselves with the highest version of ourselves, what happens is energy comes forward. That energy flows towards you. And a lot of people are getting out of their solitude. A lot of people have been kind of put themselves in their own cave, in their own hermit mode, if you will, to begin their transformation, that integration. And with this energy that is currently here, with the summer coming for us in the northern hemisphere, we're stepping into that energy of we can have it our way. Yep. We're stepping into feeling safe to celebrate ourselves, and furthermore allow the safe space for people to celebrate themselves with whomever and wherever they are in themselves. Stepping out of non-judgment, stepping out of just honestly the celebration of ourselves, understanding that we can have it our way. So that's resonating for somebody. You got it. So that's all we got, y'all.
Yes, and there's no crystal of the week. But thank you all for listening. Thank you for tuning in.
Y'all know what to do. We love you.
Yes.
Until next time, light,
Peace,
love,
and soul.
All right. Goodbye, guys.